Hi everyone, my name is Daisy Kaya, and I just want to start off by explaining who's my favorite teacher. So, teachers are one of the most important people in our lives, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We will always remember our favorite teacher to our least favorite teacher. A teacher is not just someone who educates us with texts and hands out exams. A teacher is not just someone who is educating on their knowledge and hopes to pass down some wisdom along with it. A teacher is someone who you can view as a family or a friend, a person who may be the one spreading the inspiration and motivation one needs individually and academically. Teachers, whether they know it or not, are the foundations of our future. We spent the majority of our time with them from September to till June, the month of June. They perhaps know more than our parents when we are not having a good day, or at least can tell something is not right. We learn a lot through our time in school, from problem solving to knowing about ourselves. It is while being in school that we learn and that it helps us later on deal with tasks and even face important problems and to make important decisions. I am fortunate enough to say I have had a handful of great teachers that in some way somehow have shaped me to be the person I am today, and I thank them for it. However, I would have to say my favorite teacher was my seventh grade science teacher, Miss Canonas. I've always liked science, but I loved it even more when I had a teacher who made learning um, fun and never tried making my classmates uncomfortable for not knowing something or out of place. Miss Canonas was a teacher who, if you did not know like science, you were soon to love it by the end of the year. She was caring and will really do everything in her ability to help you. Miss Canonas had her own kids and, of course, her own life, but she was enough to express that we were just as important and that she cared for us and would want us to do the best and be the best, just like she would want for her own kids. Teachers in other subjects were not so much a fan of her because everyone wanted to hang out with Miss Canonas or find some way to go to her, simply just to talk to her about anything. It did not even have to be an academic related, it could have been personal or just advice. And she was the one that was ready to listen on her break. So she didn't really care to take from her own break time to talk to us. Miss Canonas made learning so much fun with projects, splitting into the class into teams, creating games in order for us to learn in a fun way. Yes, Miss Canonas was fun and all, but she also had her class rules, which most students followed. It was well structured that it did not interfere with learning, and learning that can sometimes be hard to teach when there is like no class structure. So she didn't have to worry about this because it was really good. In her class, she did not face these problems as much as others because students respected her because she respected students. She would talk to us normally without us feeling like she had power or anything that she said was a must do without a question. So instead of her saying, I want you to do this or I want you to do that, she always made sure that we had an explanation and understood why she wanted us to do certain things. And um, also, she would say, like, I need you to do this or that because it will help me understand where you guys are at academically. So it was not like just like, oh, I'm going to give you this test because I just need a grade. There was an explanation for it. Also, it was not an, oh, you fail my test is because you don't know or you didn't study. It was like, okay, let me try and see these different methods of if it could help you study or be prepared for next test. So she would do this by giving out tests, and if we did it wrong, we would have to pick the correct answer and explain why that's the correct answer, and also explain why we chose the wrong answer. So I think this was very good. I think Miss Q for this because it showed me that it is okay to ask for help. So she made it really open, like for it to be okay to ask for questions, help. But most importantly, it's okay and alright if you need to try different alternatives to attain your goal or do well. This was shown in the simplest way by her showing us that and understanding that we all learn differently. And it's okay if we need to take different alternative ways to accomplish getting a good grade or studying. So she didn't make us feel weird. She just kind of understood why or we might need to do this instead of that. So thankfully, I continue to have good high school teachers in science, and that was my favorite subject all throughout. I graduated did my bachelor's with education and health and education. So science was the foundation why I liked her. She's one of the reasons why I pursued getting a bachelor's in that. She was my favorite. Um, she was just like the person who made me feel confident, comfortable to come to a teacher, like, and she brought this out, like, with me being okay and comfortable with asking questions, like, it's okay. Even though some teachers did not like that, I was confident enough to ask questions without a doubt. She exposed us to many times in group work, and I think this is important because it helps us work into groups as we get older. We do a lot of group work, whether it's working in big companies, small companies. We're always working in groups. We're always working together. It's not an individual job unless you're doing an office work, but you also need to do some type of group work, some type of communication. So this was really good that she would break us into groups, help us understand other people's different points of view, even as teenagers, which could be hard because we're going through hormones and everything. So she exposed us very well. Another thing she showed us was important that, like, take on later on in my life was also like the fact that respect is something big, and respect goes also with group work, works nicely. Respect is she talked to us with respect. Even though she was a teacher, she had more power than us. She talked to us normally, and this is like something we should take in, or at least I take in. Like, even if you're a doctor, like lawyer, or um, a housewife, house cleaner, like, I'm gonna give you the same amount of respect that I hope and wish to get. So it's not gonna be any different. Like, it's gonna be the same amount of respect, and I'm gonna still be respectful, even if you're disrespectful, because I'm gonna try to understand why you're like that. And that's something that she taught us, probably without even the intentions of teaching us. So I think that's pretty cool. Like, her main goal was to teach us science, and she really ended up teaching us life lessons that she probably didn't even know that she was really teaching us. So I think that's pretty cool. And she also showed us that no matter how, like, the time difference doesn't matter. Like, she only was our teacher from September to June, and she had so much of an impact in our lives, at least in my life and probably other students' lives. And you might know somebody for a long period of time and they have no impact. So I think that's important because it doesn't matter the amount of time someone, or someone, like, you could know someone for 20 minutes and they might have a greater impact on your life than someone you know your whole life, just because you connect or understand. So I think this was very important, and I think she showed us that throughout the whole year. So this is why she's my favorite teacher, and I hope that you understand why she is my favorite teacher. And I just hope to keep coming across teachers like her. So yeah, thank you.